Let's learn how to put changes into the staging area. Basically, as we said before, in this area, we're going to put the changes that we want in the future to persist in our history of changes, that is, in our repository. For that, we're going to use the add command. Currently, there is a file that is being detected by Git that is untracked, and it says that we should use git add file in order to include this change into the staging area. So let's do that. Let me say here git add test.txt, enter. And after this, if we do a git status one more time, we're going to see that now it says a different message. It says changes to be committed. Okay, this means that this change that I have here, that is that we're creating a new file called test.txt, is in the staging area. It has not been persisted yet into the repository. It is in the staging area, which again, it is an intermediate step between the working directory and the repository. So if today somebody were to clone this repository, they would not have access to this file because it is not yet into the repository. It is in the staging area, not in the repository. Now, before we commit this change, let's play a little bit with git add. For example, what happens if we have several files that we want to add at the same time to the staging area? Let's see that if we say here touch test2.txt and test3.txt, we're going to create these two text files. So enter, and let's see that here we have two more text files. So let's come here, and let's say that I want to check the status, so git status. We're going to see that we have the new file in the staging area and also the untracked files being notified to me here. Let's say that I want to add those two files into the staging area. So for that I can say git add test2.txt space test3.txt, enter. Git status one more time, and we're going to see that now in the staging area we have that we're creating these three new files. Also, we can use other mechanisms to add files. For example, if we have several text files that we want to add, but only those text files, we can use an asterisk. Let's see that. Let me say here touch test4.txt, test5.txt, and test.js. So as you can see, two text files and one JavaScript file. So enter, and we have those files here. Alright, so again, I want to add into the staging area only the txt files. So for that, I can say git add *.txt. This means that we're going to be adding all of the files that has the txt extension. Enter. Now let's say git status, enter. And let's see that we have here the changes to be committed, only the text files, and the JavaScript file is the only one that is untracked. Now notice something. Notice that here, nothing has changed. I'm adding things to the staging area and executing git status, but that doesn't change my files in any way. The changes are being done in this .git folder, which is why we said before, we do not mess directly with that folder, we only interact with it here. And also it is important to note that no matter how many changes, how many git adds, how many commits, or whatever we do, we are never going to change our files. Only when we have the situation of a merge conflict, which we're going to see later. But in general, doing git adds and all of that is not going to change any file. Also, I'm moving back to the git add command. We can add everything that is in a folder. For example, let me say here mkdir files, enter. This will create this files folder, and in here I want to say touch files, another test.txt. So we have this text file here, and let's say that I have a lot of files in that files folder, so I want to add everything that is in that files folder. So I can say git add files / enter. And we're going to see that if we say git status, enter, we're going to see that also we have this here in the staging area. Finally, how I usually use Git professionally is that I say git add dot. I'm not going to execute this command, but this git add dot adds everything. If I were to press enter, then this will also add this test.js into the staging area. Again, I'm not going to run this command, but I just wanted you to know that if you say git add dot, then you are going to add everything. All of the pending changes will be added to the staging area. But we will do that later. For now, we can continue.